Oh, wait. We're doing a shallot sauce. All right.
Go.
Oh, what? We'd already started?
Well, yeah.
Okay. Well, today we're going to do a chuck roast with a shallot sauce and some Yorkshire pudding to go along with it. The video's a little longer, but it's easy, it's delicious, so let's go ahead and get ourselves started. Over here, what we've done, we've taken a chuck roast and we've cut it into 2 strips. We want them about the size that you would find a beef tenderloin. So we've got those already cut and we've got those trimmed. Here we've got 1 pound of shallots. Now to that we're going to add 2 tablespoons of olive oil, three-fourths a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of black pepper. I'm just going to mix that all together there real quick to make sure everything is nice and evenly coated. We're preheating our oven to 500 degrees. In a bowl here, we're going to combine 1/4 a cup of olive oil, one and a half teaspoons of onion powder, one and a half teaspoons of garlic powder, one and a half teaspoons of black pepper, one teaspoon of salt, and we're going to do half a teaspoon of thyme. I'm just going to take my measuring device and mix it all together. Alright, now this is where the fun's going to begin. Over here we've got our pan. We've lightly oiled the bottom of that. We're now going to take our spice mixture here and we're going to rub that over all of our steak here. Now this is going to be about 3 pounds of chuck roast. And then we're going to stick it into our pan. Going to finish it off in there. Especially we don't want to really lose any of those spices. That'll be very important for later. We're going to take our shallots, put them around the edge of the pan. Now we're going to stick this in the oven at 500 degrees and we're going to bake it for 25 minutes. After 25 minutes, we're going to reduce it to 375. We're going to keep checking and temping our chuck roast until we hit the internal temperature that we are looking for. If you're looking for 145 degrees, it's going to take about 20-25 minutes. If you're looking for 160 degrees, which would be considered medium, it's going to take about 30 minutes or so. But we're going to get this in the oven and get it baked. Our beef only has about 10 minutes left, so what we're going to do, we're going to take 32 ounces or 4 cups of beef stock. We're going to place it in a pan, bring it to a boil, and we want to reduce this beef stock by about half. Our timer has went off. Our reduction there is being reduced. We're going to pull that up. We're going to take our spoon and we're actually going to take all this meat and everything out of the pan and set it off to the side on a cutting board. Once we get the steaks and the shallots out of the pan, we're going to take our aluminum foil and cover it to make sure it stays nice and hot. We'll move it out to the side there. With our pan here, we're going to take a little bit of this stock, turn that heat off just for a second. Alright, what we're going to do, we have this nice flavoring here, and for our Yorkshire pudding, we're going to take our brush here, we're going to take that oil and we're going to brush each of these pans This is going to give it some really nice flavor. Once we get that glazed up with that oil, we're actually just going to set it off to the side. We're going to take our oven, we're going to put it at 450 degrees for our Yorkshire. All right, we're going to turn our heat down off just for a second, because we're going to take a little bit of this beef stock. We're going to place it into our pan, and we're going to deglaze that. We want to make sure we get all those little crumbs that's on the bottom of the pan. That's flavor. We don't want to waste that. So we're going to just go ahead and scrape that all up. Once we get most of that scraped off, we're going to add this back to our pan. Remember, we have the flavoring of the beef, the shallots, all the herbs. Put that back to our pan. We're going to bring that back to a boil. Once your temperature on your oven has reached 450 degrees, we're going to take and place our pan into the oven, because we want this to become smoking hot. And that won't take very long. While we're doing that, we're going to make our Yorkshire pudding. We're going to start off with 1 cup of flour, 1 cup of milk, 2 teaspoons of rosemary, 1 teaspoon of kosher salt, 4 large eggs, hopefully without very many shells. Good news, I only saw 1 shell go in, so I wonder who's going to get that. Will Mom get that, or will I get that?
I'm going to give it to you.
All right, we're going to mix that in really well.
Wasn't it at Christmas they used to hide something in the pudding, and whoever got the thing got a prize or something if they're the ones that got it in their pudding?
Oh, yes.
So I'll be expecting a prize if I get that eggshell.
All right. We'll mix it up really well. All right, I'm going to check. I'm going to turn the heat down down to the medium for our gravy that we're making there. These are boiling. They're beginning to steam. Now, on my mixing bowl here, I used to make sure that I had a little dip there so I can pour spout. We're just going to fill these up 2/3 of the way. All right, once we get that mixed in, we're going to put this back in the oven, and we're going to let it bake for roughly 12 to 15 minutes. Stick that in there. Now, over here, we're making a slurry. We got 3 tablespoons of water, 2 tablespoons of flour, and we're just going to mix that in together really well. All right, once we get that made, we're then going to add our slurry to our hot mixture here. Stirring that, we're going to then let this begin to thicken. All right, it's looking pretty good. Now to that, we're going to add 3 tablespoons of butter. We like adding butter to our sausage. It just gives it a nice little richness to it. We're going to let that melt for a second. All right, we've got that mixed in. To that, we're now going to add 1/4 a teaspoon of black pepper. And our sauce is nice and done. All right, gravy's done. If you wanted a thicker gravy to go over mashed potatoes or something of that sort, what you're going to do is you're going to use basically 1 tablespoon for every cup of liquid. So you do 4 tablespoons of cornstarch versus to 5-6 tablespoons of water. What we're doing, ours is going to be a little bit thinner. It's more like an au jus. We've let this set. Everything, the other items are almost done. We only got about 4 or 5 minutes left on our Yorkshire pudding. Our gravy is finished. We're just going to go ahead and cut this because we're hungry and we are ready to eat. But we're going to use some serrated knife. Cut this into little medallions. And then when we're done, we're going to put some shallots and some of that gravy over the top of our beef. Oh. There we go. Our Yorkshire pudding is done. We're going to let that sit just for a few minutes. As it does, the insides will begin to collapse, just like that one. Our feast is almost complete. All we're going to do is going to take a couple of our pieces of roast. And we've tried it. It's got excellent flavor. Put a few of our shallots on top. Spoon just a little bit of this gravy. Over the top of our roast. Grab ourselves a couple of these little Yorkshire puddings. And there we go. We appreciate you for watching. It's a delicious recipe.